everyone, I would like to welcome you all for today's workshop. We at Hack the Mountains are coming out with a learning series of workshops called Hack the Mountain Qubits. Qubits is a computing term. Another term for qubits is quantum bits. Just like small quantum of packets of information make the whole information, in that way, these series of workshops would make you tech geek at the end for sure. These workshops have already started from 20th September 2020 and they will go till 9th October 2020. These workshops will be conducted by industry professionals. Even if you're a beginner in the tech field, these sessions will take you from the scratch and help you build your profile and skills. So, what would you get by attending these workshops? That might be a question that should be coming to your mind. So, learning and experience sharing by industry professionals, rewards for participants during the workshops, e-certificates to all the participants, and obviously you will be able to network with a lot of new people, a lot of professionals. One more thing, e-certificates will be given to only those participants who will fill the survey form given at the end of the session. So stay tuned till the end to get the certificate and to get the survey form. So coming to today's session. So are you curious how at runtime we can build web applications easily and scalable to various systems? Here comes the role of Node.js. Node.js is an open source cross-platform JavaScript runtime environment that executes JavaScript code outside a web browser. Node.js lets developers use JavaScript to write command line tools and for server-side scripting. Running scripts server-side to produce dynamic web pages content before the page is sent to the user's web browser. We at Hack the Mountains have come up with a live workshop on introduction to Node.js. So now I would like to introduce you to today's speaker, that is Abir Pal. He is an Alpha Student Partner Ambassador at Microsoft, working as a core team member at Alexa Developers Community. He is also community lead at Tech Phantoms. So I would like to welcome Abir Pal and I would like to hand over the session to him.
Thank you, Smriti, for such nice introduction. And today we are going to see how Node.js works, and plus we are going to have some hands-on session too, and plus doubt sessions also. So let's get started. Let me share you the screen. Fine. So here, let me tell you something about myself. My name is Abir, and I'm from Chandigarh University, a third year undergraduate student, and I have been working on Node.js for like around more than a year now. And it's like I've been into many communities where I try to learn, build, and share the things. And this is a part of my program only, that Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors. And here we are going to see most of the things which actually beginners don't know, plus professionals also don't know about it. Most of the time we actually don't focus much on what is happening inside Node.js and how the things are working. We know how to write the code and all, but basically we don't know the working of the thing, how the event loop call stack works. And we are going to focus on the technical stuffs plus on the overall view stuff, like how V8 engine works. And we are going to surely then final up with open source projects, because Hacktoberfest is also coming, and I don't anyone of you to lose the t-shirt that Hacktoberfest 2020 offers. And by just you have to merge 4 PRs in your GitHub repo. So all those projects which we are going to discuss some of the projects also at the end. And in between, before the code visualization, we will be going to have some doubt session where you can just ask the doubts regarding that what all you understood from Node.js or anything like that, if you want to explain before code visualization, because code visualization will take some time to understand. That's right. Let's get started. So first is introduction and JavaScript engine. So you have run like JavaScript on browser, but have you ever thought of running it on a coffee machine? Not yet, I think so. So here, JavaScript helps you to do that, like the Node.js part. The Node.js JavaScript is something like, it's so like versatile language and it can blend with anything. that factor made that Node.js stand out of the other technologies in the world. If it can be on Ruby, many frameworks, it can be on PHP, are built are like used to build the backend, but Node.js has gained the special focus because of this versatility nature. So let's see. So, as I said, Node.js helps you to run JavaScript outside of your browser. But how? What are all present in this slide might make you scared, but let's start it one by one. So, we are going to see the first application part. Now you can over here in the image below, here's your application, Node.js application. But as you see the Node.js application, like you are not seeing the behind work, what is happening behind the scenes, like Node.js core APIs and Node.js binding C++. What are these? Actually, whenever you build an application, you actually send requests and receive the responses from the server, and it can be on a cloud, or because most recently we have heard about the this hype about cloud hype is going on still, that all the applications are like which are server based are moving on to cloud. Behind the cloud, your cloud is nothing but you are just running your application on someone else's machine. So everything remains same, but cloud is using like something someone other's machine where it's accessible with some high security features, physical security, plus you have the software security too. So here, Node.js core APIs, what will they do? They have some built-in modules, built-in functions implemented already in JavaScript. That is actually if you're sending requests to any, like if you're asking this console.log, there's a function in like use in console JavaScript, that console.log. It's actually implemented in JavaScript in Node.js core APIs, which actually triggers the console to like print the statement to the console, whatever in this there. So that is how the things are in Node.js core APIs. Then what is Node.js bindings in C++? Node.js bindings, it actually makes the things more complex when we go deep inside, because whatever you written in JavaScript is still in JavaScript only. It's not at like it's not been converted into the machine language or the machine which can understand that language. So C++ and in combining with V8 engine and libuv helps us to do that. It actually the whole package below here, the Node.js bindings and V8 engine, you can observe that they actually responsible for making things into machine language, that's bytecode, and then proceed further. So overall, in a summary, you can say that Node.js is a wrapper around a JavaScript engine called V8. You might have heard this V8 in like in automobile industry, that is actually derived from that only. Google has built this open source JavaScript engine V8, and even you can also contribute over there in their repo if you are too geeky with C++. So actually, this V8, whatever you do on Chrome, Opera, Edge, or any browser you take, any major browser you take, it is powered by V8 engine. And V8 is a JavaScript engine, and Node.js implements totally. It's a wrapper kind of thing over V8, so you can use it outside of a browser. That's the specialty of Node.js. So, as said by Smriti, that Node.js is an open source server side JavaScript runtime environment. Let's see what does this runtime means. That it means it executes thing in runtime. That when are you clicking, it actually depends on the user clicks. And if you are sending request, it will execute that time only itself. So that is actually meaning of runtime, sending the request and response, getting back the responses. So let's move on to next. Here we are going to see how V8 works. So first of all, let's go from this yellow box where you can see we take your JS parser, and the sources I have searched it from Google, and I'm going to explain it how it works. So here in V8, what happens when it will take your JS part, all the JavaScript file index.js, and it will parse it. That means it will read through it, that what is there in the syntax or what are the logic you are using, and all this parsing thing will be done, and a parse tree has been developed. And then what we convert it into abstract syntax tree. Actually, what is AST? You might have heard about this in data structures too, in college. That abstract syntax trees are actually the whole logic, both stuff, operations, and everything are merged, are actually converted into a tree. It cannot be like all the data types and everything, all the operations. Like, let me show you one example of abstract tree here. So here you can see that I think Smriti, can you just turn on the screen? So it's a bit technical issue, guys. Don't worry, we are going to continue with the. So no worries. Here, I have just Smriti. I have just actually changed the screen to one of to explain abstract syntax tree. Can you just over here in the period over? Can you just shift the controls to abstract syntax tree? This guys for a few minutes. I'll just reshare it again. Well, there is actually some technical issue at the Hack the Mountains StreamYard. So actually, what I was saying that let's not like waste the time over here. We are going to see that how V8 works. As I said, that it actually takes JS, converts into parse tree, and then converts into abstract syntax tree, and then actually what happens, everything it's get converted into bytecode from abstract syntax tree. So what happens here, bytecode will get reviewed again, that it will be cross checked, that this is it correct code, or any compilation error or something like that. If there is any, then it will point it out early itself. Compilation here, it's I mean, if you are sending some request, and if the request doesn't receive a response, so the final, what do you say, that getting feedback mechanism, that will help you to clear out the things, that if there is some response got stuck, and it will help you out to get out of it. So then it will get optimized, and then after optimization you can see your JavaScript on browser. So actually this happens whenever you click a button, or just do a sign up on any application over there. Then you can see that if you just click on sign up button, you are actually faced up with a form, and this form has been sent by the server. And how is this happening? Because this is happening because of the V8 working behind, that it always sends the response, get passed, and it always happens so speed that you cannot observe even a glitch also you cannot observe, because it's so fast. Let me just ask once. Yeah, now it's available. So sorry for the interruption, guys. It was some technical issue. Yeah. So we're going to continue with here. I just said you an audio that the abstract syntax tree will be converted into bytecode. Then bytecode getting the feedback. Feedback then will be optimized and compiling it, and everything will be done by turbofan. V8 has some module known as turbofan, and it will optimize it and compile it plus. And then it will be run on your machine. It can be Intel MIP5. MIP5 is actually an IoT processor where you can run on the Node.js part. So Node.js not only runs on browser, it also runs on chips and IoT things. Like if you are making some smart bulb, like Cisco also use Node.js for it. So something like that. Yeah, Node.js is used for. Yes. Yeah. So let's move on to the next. So now we completed a section. Here, what happens? We just got the bit intro about Node.js. We're just seeing how the what is Node.js, and how V8 works and everything. But architecture working we are going to see next. Before that, let me tell you that you can build many things using Node.js, starting from desktop applications to IoT products. And in fact, you can set up your next business also, a next global business using Node.js, because most of the companies do that. Tesla, SpaceX. Recently, you have seen that SpaceX has used all those their dashboard, total dashboard in JavaScript only, Node.js server. So you can build anything with Node.js. It's highly versatile, and plus because it has already implemented the IO file systems and network operations in their libuv file. The thing which I just show you in the libuv part, that all those implementations, the wrappers, all those things are actually implemented. So you don't need to write the code for it again. Just directly do it, and it is going to happen very easily. So most companies use this, and in technology it's like keep on evolving with the things. Don't make the things from scratch. You can just know the things how they work, but when you are in the production, don't ever you make the things from scratch, but use the existing modules, independent modules, so that you can actually build more productive things. That is actually more important. So let's see now architecture and working of Node.js. So this scary diagram always scares me. So here we are going to see that Node.js is a single threaded, non-blocking runtime. Those complex words, it always confuses me still date. So I have actually converted whole this thing into like uh, yeah. So hold this thing into a simple format, which I have just gone through these things, the internal working, and it will be very simple for you on the next slide. Don't focus on this thing, timer, callbacks, poll checks. But let me tell you, these are just like processes. You're sending requests, Sometimes you set those who are into JavaScript, let me tell you that whenever you use dot set timeout, actually dot set timeout is not never implemented. It's never implemented on browser. It's actually behind the V8 engine. Okay. And those V8 engine actually process the web APIs and all those things. And in fact, also V8 engine doesn't directly implement set timeout. They actually using web APIs to communicate for the set timeout, jQuery stuff. All those are things in these are phases. So we are not going to focus too much in depth because this actually makes too much like confusing for the beginners, and I don't want to confuse you and plus making Node.js like bit scary for you because it's very simple. So before that, let's see what the definition says. Node.js is single-threaded, non-blocking runtime. So what happens when single-threaded, multi-threaded, all these things, actually they are nothing but just they are sequence of programmed instructions. That what happens whenever you program something, these are like formed into instructions to the operating system. You might have listened that in your lectures, computer science lectures, that we are using multi-threaded paradigm, something like that geeky stuff, which is like too much confusing. So here, in a very simple fashion, a thread. What is a thread? A thread is simple, few of lines of program which are independently managed by the operating system. So actually this is how the thing, like a thread you can actually take on, like it's a kind of a process which you can just directly, without any dependencies, nothing else, in totally independent of anything, you can just manage process that thread. So let's that's actually the monotonous definition of thread. Like it's a very like we used to listen it from college days, and still today. So single threaded means what? Single threaded means that there's only one stack. Actually everything, this phases, these are actually stacks. You can see these non-blocking operators, these are actually stacks where things are, because the whole V8 structure, whole the Java Node.js is totally based on stacks data structure. That how everything, any process you do, it will be on stack data structure itself, where you're putting the request and you're pulling out the popping out the request also from top itself. So that's the stack nature of JavaScript, and it has like only one call stack. And we are going to see what is call stack in beautiful way in next upcoming slide. So what does event loop do here? The big thing, event loop. Actually, event loop is actually the main implementation in the Node.js that makes it so versatile. That means if you are like, have you ever seen that sometimes you upload Instagram, any picture on Instagram, and due to network connections it keeps on uploading, like it can be a story, and meanwhile you can also browse the Instagram while you're uploading the story. It is getting uploaded and you can browse the Instagram too. That's actually the function, that how it is happening, this asynchronous thing. Instagram is not getting stuck. It's not, ये freeze नहीं हो रहा. Let me tell you in Hindi that insta whenever you like जब भी आप story डालते हो, then the story, because based on the internet speed it will get uploaded. Till that time जब उसी बीच में you can just like scroll the Instagram too. So these two things, Instagram is not getting stuck, Instagram is not getting fixed, it has not been freezed kind of thing. I'm sorry, I didn't use the freezed word, it is freezed. Actually Instagram is not getting freezed. And how it is happening? It's because of event loops. So let's see the next slide, how event loops work actually. So we are going to see this non-blocking, and these things we are going to see in this diagram over here coming soon. Here, client, we are client. It's you, it's user who is using the site, and you're sending requests. It can be sign up or anything. You're posting a story, so everything will first go to a call stack. And these blue, orange, green boxes you're seeing, these are just some already present in the call stack. Some requests are there. Okay, so from the top, the one of the requests will go to the event loop. Here, event loop will see that it will judge that does it require any calculations, computations. If it doesn't require, if it, then it will pass on to client. Otherwise, if it requires, then it will put it to worker pool. Now, if you see, worker pool is a queue. Where what is queue data structure? It is if you are in a station, have earlier days, like whenever you used to book some ticket, you need to stand in a queue, and the person who last entered will also get the last ticket, like if a ticket is there. So something like that, a worker pool. So here is the thing. So here what happens when the request goes to event loop, it will first see that does it need any computation, calculation, or anything like that. Will it take some time? If it takes some time, then it will shift it to worker pool, and everything is independent now. If it doesn't take time, suppose it's just a simple console log, so event loop what it will do, it will just directly push it to the response, the console, it will print that. So that is how the event loop works. And if there is some computation involved, now you see if event loop will be actually totally free of that request, it can process the next on the call stack. It's very simple. If you observe that the request has gone to the worker pool, now event loop is free. It can always go for the next stack, next request on the stack, and it can process it. That's how the things are. Like if you are putting up, let's see, it's in story format, IG story. Like if you are seeing now, you are putting the IG story. Fine. So what happens? Let me just go back and see here. You are putting this IG story. It will first go to the call stack, and now it knows, event loop knows it needs internet connection, it will shift it to worker pool. Now suddenly the you just switch to the feed of Instagram, and you are browsing the Instagram. Till then the worker pool, the story part has is in the worker pool, and all those feeding and everything has been processed out, and it's put up to you without any interruption. And this is made possible by event loop. Things are getting settled up in worker pool, and the rest of the process which doesn't need worker pool are totally sent to as a response, sent to you as a response. This is actually behind Node.js thing. That's how actually Node.js works, the architecture. This is the whole stuff which you just saw over here. This thing, this whole thing, I have just simplified it for you there, that how the things work, worker pool. And this makes Node.js non-blocking, because if you see here, event loop doesn't ever get blocked. It can, if it needs computation, it will send to worker pool, and it can look on to other call stack requests. That is the main thing behind Node.js working. That makes it like stand out of the crowd. This is the thing. The Node.js is like it can handle concurrent events being single-threaded. Single-threaded means many single-threaded applications get stuck, but why not Node.js? Because of this nature, worker pool. So here is the architecture and working of the uh, event loops and Node.js. So we are going to have some doubt session now. So guys, yes, you can freely ask doubts. Okay. Can I, shall I explain this again? Okay, fine. Let me. Any more doubts? So let me. I think Anshika has asked this. That she didn't get it completely. So we are going to see it again in a nice view. Here, suppose Anshika, you are using Instagram, suppose, and you are putting a story. So what happens whenever you put a story? The request is sent back to the Node.js server that I am putting this story. This is my bandwidth. This is my internet speed. Now, what happens? This all goes in a call stack. Stack is just a data structure. We are just naming it as a call stack. You can name it any stack, but generally in Node.js conventions, we name it as call stack. Then what happens? The event loop, it does do, it will take the process which is the story that you just wanted the story to be put on. So it will take the process which is at the top of the stack, it will pop out from the stack, and it will take the process, that it will take the request kind of thing, which you send it. I'm sending this request to put the story, and this is my, it will take that request, and it will check whether your speed is good or not. If it is, if it takes time, it will send it obviously to worker pool. Worker pool, what it does, it actually is a queue where it actually put things in queue and process it, and as soon as the process finish, it will again give back to event loop. So here you're putting story. So after your like story gets on the story page where you see the Instagram story, Here, after that process gets complete, it will again push back to event loop, and then after this, you can see it on your like icon over there, the deep, which you say the profile picture of Instagram, that you have some pink color circle around. That is actually the response that your story has been put up, and you can see it, and people can view it. So that is how the worker pool is working and event loop works. Is it clear, Anshika? And I think it's clear. So yeah. So we are going to have QA sessions like this is because this is just we are in the middle of the session, and I don't want you to get confused in code visualization. So we are going to have take some doubts on architecture. So let me just see. Yeah, yeah, guys. Please ask your doubts.
So, sir, there was one question. Uh, so there was one question. So, are you teaching about hacking?
I think he hasn't seen the title of the video, YouTube video. It's Introduction to Node.js. I think is Vipin Raj. Yeah, yeah. It's yeah.
One more question. Doesn't Node.js server-side execution feature make it a kind of loophole an attacker can use rather than JavaScript, which just runs on the client side?
Let me just read the question clearly again, because see, it's actually dependent, because I said you that if you are making your own server from the scratch, then you need to implement the security part too. But if you are using Azure to deploy your Node.js web app, then you already have that security, where you don't need to like put some attention from different point of view, that I need this, I need these many libraries to secure or something like that, these many hashing algorithms, something like that. We don't need, because no, the Azure provides physical security plus your the software security by encryption algorithm, because Azure uses MS Online JWT authentication. I think you are in this field of hacking, so I am sure that you know about this. JWT is the like top level security, you can say. If you have more secret key, more longer the secret key, more you can have the secure information for. And JWT, you can have cross server connections to very much securely, so you can use that.
There's one more question. Which is the best resource for Node.js?
I would directly, first of all, if you are trying to like do it like as we do in school days, like it is a chapter kind of thing, and we need to complete it. Then please don't do Node.js, because it's not a chapter kind of thing. It's a tool. If you are building a project, you need to actually learn the tool, like how to use it, how to implement it. And for that tool learning how to implement it, you need to refer documentation. There are tons of tutorials on YouTube or on educative.io or on front end masters too. If you're a GitHub student developer, you must avail front end masters also, where you can get these tutorials for free. Not for free, because you're a GitHub student developer, you are supposed to get that tutorial. So here, what happens if you're like building a project on Node.js, then use Node.js. Otherwise, if you are thinking it's like a chapter kind of thing, where I need to do it like from one to one, I need to do this chapter, then worker threads or something. This will not be useful, because you are not here. Our focus will be building the things, not learning the things. Here we are actually building the things. So yeah, next one. I think this. Yeah.
So the next question is there any chance of buffer overflow in worker
It is
pool?
managed. Yeah, yeah. I was expecting this question. It is actually managed by V8 engine itself. That it has always like optimizations thing running back behind the things. So it will always like the worker pool queue and everything will be already managed by that. It's that's why it said like we are actually focusing on working threads. What happens whenever there's a buffer overflow? Suppose now let's consider a situation where it is a buffer overflow. What will happen? Node.js will activate work threads. There's a module in Node.js implemented that is known as work threads, which will actually make this single threaded thing into multiple threads in the worker pool, where it gets automatically again back to the stuff that you have the things working again back again, and it's not a overflow condition. I hope that's clear.
The next question is, if I want to schedule a task according to a given time and want to deploy it on server, how should I do it?
If I
Somebody
want to
actually
schedule,
repl-
yeah. Okay, if I want to
Someone
schedule a task according.
actually replied to this as well. You can use priority scheduling.
Yeah, actually, Shantam has correctly said it. But that's actually on the part if you are not doing in if you're actually it's actually a deep task. If you see, if you want to schedule a task according to a given time, so you can put dispatchers or something like that, schedulers, where you can do this stuff because Node.js already has built-in things. So you can use those libraries. And yeah, Shantam has actually said it very right. You can use priority scheduling too. But I will not go for priority scheduling if I have Azure. So I am going to use Azure over here for this thing. There are some resource pools, resource names, many things are there. So there you can schedule the tasks and view the things, how you can manage it. So I would like to go for that because you can go in depth into like cloud services, which service you want to process at which time, something like that. You can use Azure for that. Yeah, next question.
I think there are these many questions only. If anyone wants to ask something else, please put in the comments.
Yeah, so I think these many questions, Santi, there. So, yeah, great. Yeah, it's putting up class knowledge to reality. Yeah, yeah, Sams, that's actually true. Great. So, next, we are going to see the code visualization, how things work over here. So first, let me tell you, I'm not going to confuse you with worker pool here. So we are just directly going to see how console log works. We are going to see how, that's why you're seeing here Node.js stuff is over here and console is over here. Let me have some water first. So here we are back. Sorry for the interruption. Here you have console and here you have Node.js. So what happens? These are the two things we are going to put in prime focus. And what happens? See, here is first we are going to write some code here. This foo bar code, and I've just implemented a few functions. So here, just it's very simple functions, nothing to worry about much. And here's a call stack. What happens in call stack? The main function. Whenever you are executing any JavaScript, main function will always be called. Though it is not mentioned in the code, it is implicitly called by the JavaScript V8 engine. So here call stack, it will get upload. It's a push like call stack. Main function gets pushed into call stack. Now what happens? It will go to first function, that is foo, and then what will happen? The foo, it will go directly go to the foo function where it is like implemented. And here you are going to see the first line of the foo function is saying console log. So the console log will get like on the stack. Now, if you see, console log is operation which requires Node.js or V8 engine to work around. So what happens? The Node.js actually sees that it is actually a built-in function I need to call. So it will directly pop it out from the stack, and it will actually go pass through the event loop. If you see that it just passed through the event loop because it doesn't need any calculation, something like, because it's already implemented. So it will directly get as a response, you'll get the directly response as foo, the implemented part. And here then the it will go to the next line, the arrow will go to the next line. Now I have implemented the foo part, now I'll go to the next line, it's bar. So let's see, go to bar, and it will push onto the stack, call stack. And then again it will go where the bar is implemented, and here then it will again go to the console log, and console log will again get pushed to the stack. Now what happens? Again, the same procedure here. Console log will actually, you see, it's a built-in thing. It's already implemented, and I am not just identifies I need to process this and all the things I have to do. So here we are going to use go on to the event loop, and it will like going. It's kind of like doing the multiple things. It's actually making console log itself, and like making it loops, and it will go directly to print because it's a next task. So it actually event loop recognize it as a, like it's the second time I'm using console log. It will actually use it as a counter function also, that it increments counter how many times console log has been used. It's used for debugging only. So here event loop actually just consoles it out, and then it's here we are getting console foo bar as the our console window output. Now what happens? Everything gets implemented. Now we are going to go back to the where it is called, the function bar function is called, and now it will happen that the bar function will go away as usual, because everything is now bar function is completed, and the arrow will shift back again back to foo, and foo also will go back. This is how like call stack is working. And here again the main function, everything gets executed. So here the call stack is again empty, and our JavaScript code is complete. So that is how the code visualization is. How is like the JavaScript which you run, you can just see this part, the black part where you are seeing here, that only is visible to you, and the console is visible to you. The call stack and Node.js is always like behind the scenes, and most of the students or professionals don't know about it much, how it happens. This is the thing. So to explain how buffer overflow is not occurring in worker pool at the end of the session. Okay, I just saw this. Okay, fine. So actually, I'll tell you the link over here. It is actually a working thread, worker threads, Node.js. You can just, I'm sharing this link to you in the chat. I'll just say Vinayak or Srishti, Smriti. Yeah, yeah, fine. So here is the link where you can see that how actually whenever there's a worker pool is not getting if it is like getting actually it getting overflow, but we actually don't let it do because of use of worker threads, because worker threads come into action whenever there is a like you can see buffer flow happening at worker pool. So worker threads will come, and it will divide the tasks into different type of threads where you can just directly see the things happening, like they are being processed into multiple thread and being synchronized also. So actually what happens here, Node.js actually it's also a disadvantage of Node.js. We are going to discuss that too, what happens actually here whenever like there's just some long computation task which is like you cannot it will take some time and all those things. So Node.js is not suitable for that part. If you, it's long computation, like if you are calculating some like 100 factorial, and in Python you can easily do it because it's actually kind of a Python is made for that. But Node.js, if you do this on the browser, it will take some time and all those, and for that worker threads has been implemented in Node.js. So that's why Node.js has been like had some versions like from version 10, 11, 12. It has implementing the worker threads in this. So that's how you can like actually stop the buffer overflow in the worker pool. So this is how Sravan Reddy. So next we are going to see when to use Node.js. So first of all, it is, as I said, it's not suitable for performing long running calculations. Why? Because as you know, because user don't find it we don't want to wait much, and like things get like get hanged up or something like that. So that's why Node.js is not suitable for long running calculation. Though we have actually like web workers like implemented in Node.js, which I just I think Hack the Mountains have shared the link, that Node.js one, that are actually web workers, where the working pool, they are managing the, indirectly they are managing the buffer overflow of worker pool. So here, what happens, like whenever if you have something like if you say a processor intensive work, like you need to some you are making some animations, fine. Most of us like in you have seen that in community event sites, it can be in any college community event, you can see that particle JS library has been used so much, but it's actually implemented, so it's not a big deal. But if you are going to implement it on your own, that particle JS library, what happens then? It actually makes the thing complicated, because it's actually processor intensive work, because you need to perform many like applications or many processes to, like if you are using that particle JS thing, you need to use many processes in that. If you are moving your mouse, the mouse events are there, so many things are there. That's actually processor intensive work. So there's a library built for it, which is known as particle JS. If you are, and it's like it's in mint, and if you see properly, that it takes around a bandwidth of around 5 to 10 ms to load itself. That's why you have seen that community sites which have like event sites which uses particle JS is bit slower on usual network bandwidth. That if you are using a 2 mbps or 5 mbps, it takes time to load too. So actually that's why these web workers are implemented to prevent the buffer overflow. That's the thing. So and also, if you are like using Python or Ruby on Rails or Ruby or something like that, it takes time. Even PHP also, it, you can make complicated applications, complicated requests, everything. But actually, what happens? The serving part, whenever it comes to deployment, it gets stuck. Ruby, Python, and everything. Actually, they are in the beta stage, or so they get stuck, and they do not perform soothing experience. This actually is overcome by Node.js. But how? Because of the fact it is single threaded. You remember, as I said that it is like the event loop gets free. That is the main point of single threading. That event loop gets free. It can take another request, pop the request from the call stack, and it can process that. So that's how actually the single threading works. And it proves to be an advantage plus disadvantage both. So that is how like single threading and Node.js, it's become boon and bane both. And long polling is not there. What is long polling? That if you have used Java, and you have like you have been proficient in Java, something like you have used threads in Java, if I to be specific, then what happens when you have multiple threads, around 1000 or 2000 of threads, it can get stacked up over the thread stack, and this actually makes a bit like clumsy or confusing, that which thread to get executed first, which we need to show, and this actually results in long polling. But this is not in the case of JavaScript, Node.js, because it actually a single threaded language, simple, because it's implemented. JavaScript single thread language, and Node.js is implemented in that, so it is totally single threaded. So no issue of multi-threading is there. Yeah, worker pool is there, and we cannot use to long running calculations. But yeah, we can use up to some long running calculations is fine, but too much high, it's not like recommended. You can use other backend services for that. So we are going to see Node.js is used by how many companies? There are tons of companies. I have just listed it some. And Microsoft, VS Code, GitHub, everything runs on Node.js. PayPal, Walmart, Groupon, GoDaddy, Postman, NASA, SpaceX too. And recently you have heard it about NASA and SpaceX journey with JavaScript, Node.js, and like Netflix also uses Node.js as a backend. In fact, I forgot to mention here, Instagram also uses React Native, so it's again back on Node.js itself, and that's how. And most of us have thought that Instagram is not actually a complete native app; it's a hybrid app. Hybrid app means it has been built on React Native, and then it has been used. So these are the things some Node.js used. use cases over here that companies have used it, and they are running on businesses over there. So also there's a resource that it has helped NASA astronauts to save and let their data from satellite to Earth getting passed on and very accurate, and everything is precise. Node just helps in that too. So I'm going to share this link with they will share you this thing. If you this is actually a documentation kind of thing, and it's not a video; it's just a documentation. So, any doubts before we continue to Azure? Yeah. Fine. So, any doubts, guys? Before I continue to Azure, let me just see. So, yeah. So, next is we are going to see deploying to Azure within few clicks. So before you deploy to Azure, you should have Azure first. So I'm going to help you getting Azure. So most of you are student, maybe master's, PhD, anything. If you are not, then you need to avail the free trial by putting the credit card on this azure.microsoft.com. And if you are a student, then good news. And if you are into Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, I hope 2 or 3 ambassadors are here. And if you are, then you can directly use the portal azure.com here. Like, guys, that if you are a Microsoft student, you have got the credits, $150, and or you can use that. But if you're not Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, here you need to apply to GitHub Student Pack, and then avail Azure Cloud credits, and then start working on them. So this is actually you going to prevail, like avail the Azure credits for your next application on Azure. So in Azure, you can select two ways of deployment. Your working machine is on Linux or Windows. It can be you are on Linux or Windows, anything it can be. But if you want deployment in, I would always prefer Linux because deployment happens good in Linux. Windows has some always gets stuck with some issues. So Azure provides these two methods of deployment. You can use Linux or Windows. So we are going to use Linux, and don't get confused that there is an option to select actually in Azure that you are going to deploy it with Linux or Windows, which platform you want. Because as I said earlier, that cloud is nothing, just you are using someone else's machine to deploy your app. So do you want that machine to have Linux or Windows, irrespective of your system? So you can use Linux or Windows. I would always prefer Linux. So prerequisites that you should have installed Git, Node.js, and npm, and obviously that version 10. After version 10, npm is included in Node.js automatically. And we'll discuss that we need an Azure account. An Azure account is needed, and then should have Node.js installed. You can verify it. And I'm going to use VS Code. That's Microsoft's Electron-based coding IDE. You can say integrator. It's not IDE. It's actually editor. If you just to be exact, it's an editor, lightweight editor, code editor. So here, then we need extension, Azure App Service extension for Visual Studio Code. So let's see. We are going to use we have already like a sample over here, Node.js, and we are going to see it. Okay. Resources for learning Node.js. Yeah, resources you can prefer the documentation, Joshua, and you can if you're building on some project, whatever you see the use cases and build on the projects. And always there are GitHub student developer pack is there. We can directly just avail the educative.io, and then you have front end masters where you can get top quality like Node.js lectures resources over there too. So I say if you are like student, then GitHub student pack is must. If you're like in CS field, you are interested in computer science. I'm not going to stick only to computer science students, but if you are interested in computer science, because many things happen. But like if someone is interested in computer science, you must avail GitHub student pack. That's actually a good thing. So we are going to see how this hands-on session it will be. So let me just contact the organizers for sharing the screen. Yeah. Screen application window. We are on VS Code. Yeah. So I think screen is visible now. We are on VS Code. So let me just tell you that these are extensions. I have just Azure App Service you need to install, and just you are going to find this type of icon over here, Azure icon, and then you just need to sign up over here. Just it will as I'm already using this, it's already signed up inside. So we are going to see how to deploy in a web app. So let's clone it some that thing where I just over here. Yeah, I'm just going to copy this command right now for a while to quickly do that because we are have time constraint. So here, let me come back. So here's the terminal. We're going to clone. So now it's cloned. Actually, we have cloned the things, and now we are going to move on to the next the directory which is actually required. So we are now in the directory, and then we are going to just do the basic process of starting our test server, that is npm start. So this will start the server. So server is now running at localhost 1337. So we are going to just see what is in the server on the link. So let me just share you the screen again. Another screen. So here, if you observe, I think yeah. So here the localhost 1337 looks like this, and here just written some hello world, and the usual font consoles. And now we are going to put it in like deploy it to Azure. How to do that? Let's see. It will be a very simple deployment. Let me just again just share the screen once again. Yeah, now what happened? We are now over here. You can see this Node.js thing. It's over. Like you can see the deployment over. Like we have not deployed it. It's the code part over here, and the Node.js code part. It looks like something looks like this. Here we are using HTTP module, and we are creating a server. It's built-in module in Node.js, and it's actually require is something like importing. Most of us use like in Java, and also in Python we use import. So it's something like that. Const is like a fixed data type, or you can say. So here you are just requesting and getting the response. As I said, request and response. client will set the request, we are getting and then we need to send the response. And this is the response, that is hello world we are setting. And this is actually sends like which is the content type header files. This is actually write head is a function, like it helps to set the headers of the response which you are sending, because any response you get, you are having headers, and these headers can contain your session details, login details, jwt secret, something like that, tokens. And actually 200 is for status okay, that means everything is fine, sub sahi hai, no worries, and my server is working, that is for 200. We got the response, we are giving back the response. Remember that 200 doesn't mean that the response is like it means actually it means that response has been sent. It doesn't see which response is sent. It can be an error, it can be something. The response can be error also, but 200 means that it has sent the response and it has been like complete response. That is the thing. 200 means that there are many port codes, actually these are just port codes. And here you can see content type is like what is it? If you're sending a plain text, then it will be like plain text, or if you're sending a JSON, you can just content type text JSON, something like that. And then what is the like where what you're sending finally, that is hello world you're sending. So that is the server module. And then we are using this port 1337, that our browser will listen to this port. And this is our like server.listen is the function that which helps you to like call the browser to launch this thing on localhost or like 1337, something like that. So and send this message to the console. Here you can see this message over here, that server is running at this. So here are the things that I wanted to explain you about the Node.js. It's very simple thing, and it's just a hello world part. Node.js is more than that. So let's see. This thing web.config, it's actually you have to build it, and it's for Azure only, where you need to put some configurations and all. And now how to deploy it, we are going to use this. And here deploy to web app, there are many options. I'm just going to create a new web app. So as soon as I create a new web app, I need to choose a globally unique name, because that will be the URL for my uh, the web app which I'm going to. So here I'm going to use the name. This is HTM session, so let's just name it HTM session. I'll have the mountain session. So just yeah. So yeah, I told you that you are using Windows or Linux. I prefer like Linux only, because Windows always get some issues during deployment. Always use Linux as your primary deployment center. Where you're going to it can be on Google Cloud, or it can be on AWS. Every time always focus on Linux. Linux is amazing you see. And because Windows actually Linux I didn't use Linux over here, because Linux lacks in graphics, and I need to present the presentation also. So I couldn't find like way with Linux, so I had to go for Windows. That's why. So Linux, if you say, and it will just process. And now here we need to see what is like your app. It's a node based app, so we are going to use LTS, it is latest stable version. And here just we are going to select that. And here the selected plan has is degrade the performance on the apps of the plan. Okay, so just let's see, create anyway. Let me just close. Yeah, fine, it's fine. It's we can create some plans. HTML section again. And Linux Node 14. Yeah, we have credit, so we can do. So we are going to register the providers. So yeah. So you can see everything has been taken care by Azure. All those like if you are going to implement the process scheduling, you can do that with Azure portal also over there. And that's how the Azure works. And we are going to see soon here it getting deployed 5 by 5. And one more thing, yeah, if you have focused on the terminal, it's looking colorful. Actually, I've just written an article about it, how to make it colorful, and something like you can use that too, like making things colorful and just as some hobby kind of. So here the things are, now we are going to click on deploy. So here, if you see, there are like we need to first browse the things, like where always don't click on directly on final, because as I said, that we have cloned the repo, and it's actually we need to cd, then use that. We need to change the directory, so always use browse and then click over here. Otherwise, your app will get simply crashed. And just click no for now, because it's just for like I'm not going to do serious development, so I'm not going to use this. Don't show again. Let's see the output window. Here is the output window. Here you can see like created new web HTM session. Here you can see that this actually has been created, the link, and it's in deployment stage. Finally, it's getting deployed. Let's see what happens. Okay. Sorry. Okay, fine. Let me just. I just saw that you need to some. Really, didn't actually have a bit focus in that. So let me just explain you once again that here we are using this HTM. Actually, this has been it's get support is in, but that's why it's showing the author name. Right. So here actually we are using this const. Yeah, deployment has been succeeded. So let's browse. It should work. And okay, let me just share the screen again over here. So let me till it gets loaded. Let me just share you this thing that what is happening. We are actually taking the require module, that means HTTP module over here, and then we are creating the server, sending the this request is the parameter to be sent by the user, and response which we are going to send. And then we are just writing the response, that headers file, that it is 200. That means it's all fine. Response has been set up and it can be sent, and everything is okay. So it is actually meant for status okay. And then content type is actually the type of content which you're sending to the user. And here's text plain, and response dot, and that means you're sending the response finally. That's hello world. So I think the site is being deployed. Yeah, let me just share the screen again. Yeah, sure. So here you can see, I think, yeah. So here you can just observe that we have deployed the things, and it's on HTTP. Let me just again reload over here. Let me just again. Yeah. So we are reloading it, and you can see the it has been deployed to Azure. And this is just a simple hello world app. You can put whole your React app over here. That how you can and use then you. There's nice idea that if you are building your own portfolio, then you can use this thing that where host everything on Azure, and then use .tech domain, which is provided by GitHub Student Pack. There you can directly avail those .tech domain and just connect it you using the URL masking feature on .tech, and you can use like you have your own domain plus you have your own Azure site, everything built up, and you don't need to worry about nothing like that. You need to like I need to take care of my security and nothing like that. You just need to write the production things, like just write the code whatever you want to, like if you want to put some display events, something like that, or your podcast, something like that, you can do that using Azure, and you don't need to take care anything about security because Azure itself is a secure platform where you can use these things. So that's how things are. And in fact, like we are right now at building our community site for like around on Azure itself. We are using this, so we also need security for that, because earlier we used other third party sites, so we are a little bit insecure, like we feel a bit insecure over there, so we are not going to like continue with that, so we are going to use Azure. Okay. Okay, sorry guys, that thing regarding the zoom in, because I was a bit much focused over there on the code, and it's but really sorry for that. Let's see. Let's get to the code review once again. If it's a problem again, let's see once again. Yeah, application window index. Yeah, I think yeah. So here actually here you can see that we are importing the HTTP module. Just this thing is actually this is actually Git support and which Git extension is because I have multiple Git extensions being there. So this is actually for Git support and it's hiding it. Let me just use it in different line. So here you can see that we are using require HTTP module of Node.js, and then we are creating a server using that HTTP module. Here we are. It's basically import command which you used in like Java or Python. You can same command you are going to use over here with Console. And then we are creating a server, sending the parameters as request and response. Request is actually sent by the user, and response we are sending. That means what is your business logic and what you want user to see, you are going to send it as a response. So here write head is actually a function for writing header files. Header files are actually like some secret geek things where like every detail of your sessions, login details and everything are written in header files. And don't worry, it's in actually encrypted fashion, so you need not worry about that. Any site which you feel like because Google Chrome or any browser which you use, they actually detect first the headers, are they encrypted or something like that. If they are using some login details, are they encrypted or not. So they are using like that. So it's a bit like you can directly put the, if some user doesn't use encryption and directly leaks your password or something in header files and any developer can access it, then Google Chrome automatically just declare that site can access your data. That you might have come across that red signature, red sign on the Google Chrome while browsing some site, and actually sometimes they use some sensitive data to not by not encrypting the sensitive data and directly sending it as a response. So it happens, and most of the time this data just username. And in fact, the modern trends the set they are said like you have to use like JWT to encrypt in fact the username of the user which you are contracting with. So it's bit like sometimes they do not follow the trends or modern nomenclature which is like set by the Google V8 engine and something like that. So that time it happens. So header files are nothing, they are just simple like telling you the basic structure, what is I'm sending and what are these things. So 200 is for status okay, that means you have sent the response and everything is fine. And that response can be an error, it can be a success, and it can be anything. That doesn't like it doesn't matter with 200 thing. And if you get like 500 error, that means it's a server error. That time we have to send 500 as a status code. And then content type is over here, like we are using JSON, and here we are using plain. And you can also use JSON as when you're building some API. As I said, Node.js can be used. We're building APIs too using Express module, something like that. And then here we are sending the hello world as a request, which you can just see on the Azure website. And here we are using the port 1337. It can be like any number you can put, and actually they are fixed numbers, not any number. They are, actually I'm not able to recall those numbers, and most of the time it is 5000, 4000, 8080 or 1337. And you can directly like use this thing if you are like on your server, and you can use 127.0.0.1, and you can just use colon and then the port number. And actually this whole thing is just localhost because it's just a home. 1270. You have might come across those T-shirt. There's no place like 127001. Actually, that means localhost only. That means home. There's no place like home. So something like that. So here it's we are putting this 137 and this process.env.port. When the things are in Azure, there's a port variable, environment variable port used in Azure, which is trying to deploy your website on that port. And then we are listening to that port, and as soon as we get the things done and response received and Node.js, and it actually sends this server is running at localhost. Because why I'm saying this, that after we like listen to this and all this, because it is on next line implemented. After, if you like, if everything gets success and everything is fine, like then it will send as a callback or something like that. You can use the, then it will show this. And that's how the things are in Node.js environment. So I hope it is clear. So I think the code part deployment to Azure is very much clear now. Yeah. Yeah, you are using, like, first of all, if your project, like, where you should write the business logic, that means what you're building first. So if you're building a React app, then you need to use this terminal. Let's go back to terminal. Let's put it some other terminal over here. And this, if using some React app, this you need to use create React app to build your application. That means if you are, like, using the my app here, it's getting built up. The everything will get built up over here. That is, you here you are going to write your business logic and everything. And this is your my app. And here, then you need to deploy this folder. We actually deployed this folder, node.js docs, but now we need to deploy this folder if you are using React app, and here you are going to write your all your logic kind of thing. And it's getting deployed because using yarn over here. Not there are many package managers. It can be yarn, npm, or anything like that. So I'm just going to cancel it, control C, because we are not going to do it now. It will take time. That's how, like, there you should first focus on where you want, which platform you want. If you are using React or you're building an API, then you need to use Node Express JS, where you are going to write all your business logic, how your things are working, and then deploy it to Azure safely. No worries about the business logic, that it won't get leaked anywhere, because Instagram, everything, most of the companies, if you're using like VS Code, the whole this whole stuff which you're seeing, this code editor over here, this is actually full totally written on Node.js and Electron app. And actually this is put upon Azure. Their full backend is on Azure, and people are using it fine. It's a desktop app, and all this source git control, everything, they are totally hosted on Azure. You can easily use this. So that's how the things are in Node.js. Any doubts in deployment of Node.js or something like that? You may proceed. You may ask. Fine. So I think this is all good. We don't have, I don't have, like, you don't have any doubts regarding, and don't focus on this linking dependencies. All these are just instructions sent to the developer, that this is linking the things and all. And don't worry about these messages, because you are everything will going to get automated, and no worries about that. Fine. Yeah, we are just going to soon end this session now, and just few more minutes. Let me just share the presentation again back. And let me, yeah, I think, yeah. And so we did this deployment, and I think it's with like, what we now know how to deploy to Azure anything. And now this is a bonus talk, that open source projects, because as you know, Hacktoberfest is coming. And initially, I on before the presentation itself, I said you that I don't want you to lose the free T-shirt that the Hacktoberfest provide, and it all the way it comes from US. So who doesn't want to see the US stamp on their letter post or something like that? So you can, if you're a beginner and you're going to start with open source, then Hacktoberfest is the, like, right platform to get started with. And open source is the, because everything is Node.js is open source. If you want to write, contribute to Node.js and write your own code, production code at like in Node.js, you can do that using GitHub. And before that, contributing to Hacktoberfest, you must know what is GitHub. And communities are there which like conducts Git and GitHub sessions. You can go over there and just get yourself done with GitHub. And now, how to do, like, getting pull requests and all those things done in GitHub? Like, first of all, you need to go to this place, issuehub.io, and search for the issue. Like, if you know HTML, CSS, I am good with HTML. I just type that issue, and it will show this number of issues over there. That these are the issues you can solve. And there are some issues like first timers only, good first issue, documentation. You can and these, and if you get, like, merged, if you contribute to this repo or anything repo having these tags like beginners, HTML, CSS, first timers, good first issue, then just 4 PRs are needed to get merged. If you contribute any four issues, you are absolutely getting the Hacktoberfest T-shirt and some goodies also. Goodies means stickers over there. How? So this is actually about Hacktoberfest issuehub.io. Just I will tell. If there's an issue, okay, if in env is not null, yeah, fine, thank you, hack the mountains, to send the issue, that link. If env is Shravan Reddy, if env is not null, that means we are actually, it can be like this. Even env is not null means that env can be either production or development. A default value is actually development for env. So we are going to, this here is disturbing, this lockdown is actually a thing that I leave it, it's out of topic. Yeah. So env is actually, it can be in, like you can say, uh, production, env can equals to production, or env can equals to development. And based on that, if env is in development, you have to use .env module to import your environment variables. Or if env is in production, then you need to set your environment variables at Azure or Netlify or wherever you are hosting your web app. So that is how, I think you are asking that only, if env is not. Next is, if you are like into open source and want to contribute like to highly like, if you're into that, want to contribute to like something worth it, and under the organization, like if you are, because we are going soon to Tech Phantoms is the next organization which are going to be like an umbrella organization under GSOC. So we are actually having, we have created actually a state management library for React, which is known as KLRD. If you are into React, you can use this. And I will share the link with Hack the Mountains to put this one. And I think this is fine. Yeah. So here actually you can do the things open source, and we are actually conducting the Hacktoberfest designs and many things, many issues are there. And Tech Phantoms is totally open source. You can, we have built many things and have been used by many companies like BBC London, and they are being like over the state management library KLRD has been used by that employees of BBC London. So it's, if you want to contribute, you can contribute over there also. So that's all about Tech Phantoms. And that's all, guys. Thank you for having me here. And it's a, actually it's a huge thanks to Hack the Mountains that they have arranged this session under MLH, and it's actually a great initiative for the beginners to get like started with open source, getting introduced to Node.js various technologies. And you can contact me, or you can just tweet it, or use LinkedIn. And the IMAVP is my handle every time. And that's me. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you so much, sir, for such an informative and wonderful session. It
Thank
was
you.
really good. So now I would like to firstly thank our sponsors: MLH, Devfolio, Matic, Fold, Portis, Wolfram Language, Echo AR, DigitalOcean, Replit, Bubble, Hack Club Bank, Balsamic, Seshido.xyz, VoiceFlow, Sticker Mule, JetBrain, Interview Cake, Linode, Clerky, Zuby.io, the event partners, StreamYard, Happiness Club, community partners, GDG New Delhi, Hackathon International, GDG Chandigarh, GDG Jalandhar, ours, IEEE, Code for Cause, Alexa Developers Community, TensorFlow, Tech Phantoms, DevHacks, Progate, Code Asylum, Neural Hacks, and hiring partners, Open Water Accelerator, The Soul Store. So, with this, we come to an end. Guys, I hope you all have filled in the survey form to get the e
Mhm.
certificates. And I would like to thank you all for joining in with us today and continue
Uh,
joining
Smriti,
further
can you
things.
just tell them about the hackathon the Hack the Mountains is going to conduct on 10th and 11th?
Yeah, sure. So Hack the Mountains is basically a 36 hours hackathon, which will be there's a website, obviously, Hack the Mountains. You can go and look up all the schedule and everything there. And it is an hackathon that is organized by JNK, first tech community ever. So it is something that is I think people should know that. So first tech community Sudan's tech, mainly focusing on providing technical education to students and empowering them with all the technical knowledge. And it is a 36-hour virtual hackathon. It is a platform where hackers, developers, innovators, entrepreneurs, and students can come together to create solutions to real life problems, 10th and 11th October 2020. Do join in, guys. We have great sponsors, great partners, and great workshops lined up for you all. So keep joining in daily, and you can get the schedule on the website itself. Thank you, guys. It's, I think, wrap up for today.